Welcome back to the Laura Dowling Experience podcast, where each week I bring you insightful and inspiring guests that will open your mind and empower your life. Before we get into today's episode, I would love to ask you for a little favour. If you like this podcast, and I know so many of you do, you could really help me out by giving it a nice rating, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the podcast. It may not seem like a big deal, but actually this really helps to keep the podcast high up in the charts, and that means that I can keep bringing you brilliant guests who are insightful, inspiring, and full of wisdom that we can all learn from. Thanks a million. Now let's get to it. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Brillo Cleaning Collection. I've recently brought the air fryer back into full rotation in our house. And when I say full rotation, I mean every single day, every single meal. The boys are absolutely obsessed. So the rule in our house is simple. If you use it, you clean it. And that's where the Brillo air fryer cleaner comes in. It makes the job genuinely easy. You simply spray it on, leave it for 30 seconds, wipe and rinse, and you're done. No endless scrubbing, no trays soaking in the sink. It's good housekeeping approved, meaning it's been rigorously tested by consumers and expert panels. And Brillo has 6 products in their new cleaning collection, all designed for the toughest household tasks. From unblocking the drain to getting your oven clean in minutes, not hours. So, if you're dealing with mould, limescale, or any of those stubborn jobs around the house, there's a Brillo product for it. Always follow preparation and usage instructions. Available nationwide. Nadia, I finally get you in the hot seat.
I know, we've been trying to plan this for like 8 months now, haven't we? We just haven't caught each other. You've been away to India. And
I know, and then you come to the podcast studio and the lock isn't working and we can't get in. But anyway, the day was saved.
It was. We got in the end.
So I'm so interested in you and your business and how you've grown it. But what in the name of God does that sound outside?
That's my Bentley that I brought with me tonight.
Oh my God. On brand, I'm telling you.
I had to represent. I was coming down to see, and I have the card machine with me as well. So if you want to maybe get a deal done on it, we can do something.
It is. How much would that go for?
So that's up at the moment for 160,000 euro. Yeah. We have a lot of kind of higher end premium cars in Ashford, and then in my second garage that I've just opened in the last few weeks, we're doing a lot of affordable cars there as well. So we do have a little bit of both, because I suppose people think that they associate us with just high-end sports cars, luxury cars, but now I'm going to
boobs.
And boobs, of course. We have to talk about the boobs. It's a good thing though, at least it's not just men, you know what I mean? Women can do for themselves too.
Well, I followed you for ages because I thought your stuff was gas, and I love seeing a woman do something just completely different, which is what you've done really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can we go back to the start?
Yeah.
How did you get into it?
So I used to be a stockbroker. That was my previous life, and a lot of people don't know that, and they're quite shocked. To be honest with you, I hated it. It was my mum that really pushed me, because we came from Somalia in the early 90s as immigrants, and we had nothing. Mum was working 3 jobs just to put me through school. So her thing for me was education. And she paid for my master's in Trinity, which she at the time didn't even have the money for. She had to get out a loan, do a payment plan. And her thing was, I want you to succeed. I want you to have a stable job. So she really pushed me into the finance route, but I hated it. I struggled through college. She got me tutors in the summer. She paid a fortune just to get me through school. She really did.
And was it just that you didn't like formal education, or what was it?
I think it was a number of all things. I think, the couple of years have been misplaced before we got to Ireland. We were about 3 years homeless and in different countries, in refugee camps, in jail. I missed a lot of school. So by the time I got to Ireland, So by the time I got to Ireland, I was like 7 or 8, and Mum was out working a lot, so I never really saw her. So I was kind of just left alone, and looking back, it wasn't her fault. She was doing her best. Yeah. I think she just thought I'd pick everything up naturally. But actually you need discipline, and you need to sit down with your child and go through the homework with them. Whereas she was so busy just trying to get food on the table, and she just thought I'd do what I was told. But I was a bit of a messer growing up now. I used to go out until late at night. I didn't have brothers or sisters. I had no family. It was just me and Mum. So my friends were my family. So I was getting into trouble. Do you know what I mean? And then with school, I got by. I could waffle. I could talk. I got on with my teachers. I loved English. I always thought I was going to be a psychiatrist. That's kind of what I wanted to do growing up, or a journalist, anything to do with English or writing. I really loved. But then I kind of just got pushed down this like finance side through my mum again, because she just wanted me to have something I could fall back on. She had businesses in Somalia. She had her own airline in Somalia. She had a tourism company, but then when the war happened, she lost everything and we had to just go and we had to find this new life.
And was it just you and her that went?
Just the two of us, yeah. Yeah, we lost family. She lost half her family. So, you know, a lot of trauma and all that. But look, we were delighted when we got to Ireland. The Irish people really welcomed us with open arms. Like, I look back and she used to tell me stories of she'd be walking me down the street and someone would give her £100 note because they'd see a woman with a child homeless at the beginning, you know. So when we got into the system initially, we were put in back then what was direct provision now, but the only difference was we weren't kept for 10 years. We were there for maybe 6 months, 9 months, and as soon as we got outed, like the state's care, Mum started working straight away. She was packing boxes in a factory, she was cleaning toilets in a pub, anything she could do. And I was always in my neighbour's house going to school. I'd be there at 5:30 in the morning and I'd be the last one in after school creche till 7 o'clock till she came to collect me, because she was always late. She'd no car for years. So she struggled, like, and so for her, the education piece and just having a stable job, and that's why I went down this road of finance. But look, I'm glad I did, because looking back now, I needed that. You know, it gives me so much now in my business with the finance background. I can speak to any type of customer, somebody that comes in that's a CEO, I can talk to them about what's going on. Someone that comes in that's a builder, I can also connect with them. And that's really what my business is about, is connecting with each person, because every type of person buys cars. And sometimes the person that comes in that you think, oh, they have no money, they've come in, they're looking a bit dirty, they're the ones with serious money and they're the ones that spend. And sometimes the people come in that are dressed head to toe in designer are the ones that don't have any money and that are tire kickers. So you can never ever judge people.
It's so funny, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is. It's so funny. It really is. Yeah.
So you went and you did your finance
degree and then finance master. So I grew up in Furhouse, living in Wicklow now 15 years. So I did the 4-year degree in Tala IT, and at the time it was a financial services investment analysis degree, because it was just after the recession. So it was very kind of honed into, you know, financial services and investments, and it was a little bit different to accounting. I wasn't a big fan of accounting. So that was fine. I did that, and I thought I was mad to start working, mad to start earning a few quid. All through my years of college, Mum would never let me get a job, because she knew if I tasted money, I'd never go back to school, because I was always mad to leave. And so every summer,
so clever.
She knew. So every summer she made me have an internship. She'd send me off somewhere, or I had to have an internship in my field. So I did that every summer. Then finally I was like, great, got through my 4 years, I'm going to get a job. And she's like, no, you're going to do your master's in Trinity. And I was like, oh, Mum, will you stop? I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing school. And she's like, no, you are. So she literally dragged my ass to Trinity. We went up to the deans, because you can't just go to Trinity. You need to apply and they need to accept you. And it's really hard. It is hard to get into a master's. And I said to her, look, I'll do it over 2 years and I'll get my job. She goes, no, absolutely not. I'll fund you for another year. I want you to do it, because if you work and do it, you'll never pass. Like, she just knew. So it's like, right, fine. So she was great that way. She really was. Like, everything she tried, she would even like give me to stay in hotel rooms while I was doing my exams, just to be close to Trinity, because she knew I'd be late getting in. Like, she was just really supportive, like, you know. So anyway, long story short, she dragged my ass to the dean's office and she told him the story. We came in as immigrants. This has been our life. I really want my daughter to do this master's. So the dean looked at me and he's like, this isn't really the right way to do this. But he's like, right, I'll give you a chance. So he looked at my credentials and I kind of just coasted through everything, but I'd failed taxation. And this was at the start of the summer. And he was like, if you repeat your taxation exams and get 90% in them, we'll let you in. So I was like, oh, for God's sake. So the whole summer, my mum made me do these tax tutors. I had a tutor 5 days a week. Every day she'd come and we'd do tax. And at the end of the year, I got like 98% in the exam, or in the end of the summer. So
She's amazing,
she's
isn't she?
amazing. Yeah, she literally
devoted her life.
Yeah, to me. Yeah, she says now that like she doesn't know what to do with herself. That like I'm good.
Did she ever find a partner?
No, not really. She had her own business. She has her own business in Ireland, so she does very well. She's had a chipper. She's had an interpreting company. She's done different things.
And so you get to entrepreneurial streak from her.
Yeah, absolutely, I do. And that's what I say to her, because she never had a formal education in Somalia either. She just became a business person, and she knew she needed to get out of Africa. She knew she didn't want to conform to the religion, to her family. She wanted to get out and she wanted to be a businesswoman, and she did. And it's kind of, I explained that to her now, and she was actually supporting me at my show this weekend at the RDS. She was sitting at the stands watching me, and she had her hand up, and I was like, oh God, don't be asking questions. But she says the same thing, that actually I am like her. Then we never knew we were like each other, but we are like each other, But at least I have my education to fall back on if anything, went wrong. And that's why I do really think an education is so important.
But it also, I suppose you learn so much with the education that you have, which means that you're a better businesswoman as a result, I'm sure, yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm so glad I did the Masters, because I met so many different people. I got so many connections. And then even through my job, I was a stockbroker for 3 years. And then I did the stockbroking exams in UCD, passed them, thank God. And then I was working with all these traders in a shark tank. So basically it's like a glass room where everybody trades. And it was just me and 18 guys. And my boss, who was a female as well.
You were so popular, were you?
Well, back then I was a real nerd, like nothing was on show. So, because you can't, I'd like full sleeves, I'd the blazer, I'd the glasses. So,
Grand.
Total opposite to what I am now, right? So, I wasn't anything special, but all the guys were on big money traders, and they all had really expensive cars. So, like, I really wanted to fit in at the time. So, I got my first loan, I got my first car. It was an '08 BMW. It was big money at the time, and I drove it. I ended up selling it myself because I didn't get a good deal off the main dealer at the time. So I just stuck it up on Dundee, or it could have been adverts at the time. And I made a few quid, and I did it again and again and again. And I built up my own little bankroll doing that. And then just before the pandemic, I really wasn't happy with my job. There's a lot of stuff happening in the stockbroking space as well, with like AI at the time and all these new regulations. And I was like, do you know what? Let's just try this and see how it goes. So I saved up enough money for rent to lease a yard for a year. And I just said, I'm going to go for it. And I had 5 or 6 cars starting off. And then the pandemic happened in March, opened in January. March, pandemic happened, lockdown. And then that's when I had to go on social media. And then that's kind of what started it all.
That's mad.
Yeah, it's a crazy story.
So you're like, I have these 6 cars and they're not going to sell otherwise?
Yeah, they're not going to sell, and like no one knows where I am, because I rented this little yard in an industrial estate in Rathnew, and I was living in Ashford. Previous to that, I was selling cars from the house. I had them up on Dundee. I was meeting customers, and then I didn't know much about cars, but I had mechanics and stuff, so I was kind of learning, or if a problem would happen, I'd bring it to the mechanic, and then I'd bring it to the valeter, then I might have to go drive to the NCT, get a fresh NCT, then I'd take pictures of it. And very early on, the way I took my pictures, it looked like I was in some 5-star garage. I always projected that I was amazing and that I was in this big garage, but I was literally at my house, and the car was, I would drive to a really fancy hotel and I would take pictures and I'd clean the car really well. And that was something the details I really focused on in the beginning, that we really carry forward to now in the business, is those small details, that if a person is looking at the car, it has to look amazing, because that's the first time they see the car is on done deal, and then they make the call, and then it's up to you to be a good salesperson to get them down to look at the car and then get them to buy the car, so that's kind of the process of it. And like, you have to get the car up really quickly, because if it's not up, it can't sell. And there's that turnover of once you buy it in, you want it up so you can make your money on it and buy another
cash flow and all the rest,
cash flow and stuff. And I think that's where the finance side actually helped me, because I was very cash flow orientated from the early days. So like, every penny I made, whether that was $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, I put it all back in, apart from like my rent and my advertising costs and the valeter. I paid everyone every week, so I never built up any big expenses. And I always kept my overheads really, really low, that like I could be agile then. And that's what I still do today. And that's why I bought my site. So I just have a mortgage on it. If I can sell 1 car a month, it covers everybody. So, if a recession happens, if the market changes, I can be agile and move to cheaper cars or more expensive cars or whatever I need to. So I did that for a while. Then pandemic happened, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Nobody knows who I am. So then I started going on TikTok, and it was at the time where people were going viral on TikTok. Everyone was on their phone, and I started off doing any guesses videos. So basically the any guesses was me like crouched down in a low top, obviously. I knew you'd love this, you
know what?
you dirty thing.
For anyone that isn't watching, okay, Nadia has the best set of knockers I've ever seen.
No, I just have a good bra.
And you have a beautiful face. Like you are literally the epitome of beauty. No, you really are. No,
we all have our imperfectnesses.
I know, of course, but look, you are fabulous, and you use it to your advantage. Yeah. And absolutely. It's worked well for you. But yeah, sorry, go on.
No, absolutely. And I suppose that you're right. I used what I had, which was my assets.
Literally.
I didn't have, I was like, I have nothing else. I have a master's here in finance, but like, I'm going to use what God gave me. Do you know what I mean? And for me, it wasn't about pushing the car down someone's throat. I was kind of just more so getting people to be a little bit shocked, and which they were, you know, Irish people, like, oh my God, you know, like how you're bringing women back. These are the stuff that was said to me early on. You're bringing women back, you're damaging the motor trade. And at one stage,
you're damaging the motor trade.
Yeah, you're bringing the whole motor trade down. I was like, Jesus, there's worse things going on in the motor trade. Trust me, I know.
Well, sure, traditionally weren't like there's sexy women on cars.
There was, yeah. So it's okay if they do it to the women.
It's okay if the men owners pay women to do that.
Yeah, but if a woman does it herself. And look, to be fair, very early on, people took me as a joke. They were like, well, who is she? Who does she think she is, trying to sell these cars like that? But in a way, back then, I did doubt myself. There was times I was crying because I was going for SIMI at the time, which is the Society of Irish Industry. It's like the governance body. So I applied to it because I was doing everything behind the scenes correctly, like having the right insurance, looking after people under warranty, trying to have a really good business, going for SIMI, going for this accreditation. But then I was like, I'm going to do everything right here, so then it allows me to market how I want to, because no one can ever come and say she's a bad businesswoman or she sold me a bad car. So it was that, you know, it was constantly, the reputation was getting better, and then I would market how I wanted. So that would only go with time, really. People would only see it. But in the early days, I got very upset because I was like, somebody said, oh, she's gone for SIMI, she won't get it. And nobody knew I went for that. So I was like, that must be someone who's like in the SIMI who knows I'm not going to get it. And I was like, oh, what am I after doing, Nadia? So I actually cried in my office that night. So the next day I got a call from SIMI and I got it. And I said to him, I thought I didn't get it because I'm bringing the whole motor trade down because of my TikTok videos. And he goes, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh, I don't know. So from that moment, I never listened to anyone's comments again because I was like, that's just all crap.
Yeah.
And then, you know, look, it's great with hindsight. I can look back now and go, oh, it was all great. But at the time, I didn't know what way it was going to work out. Do you know what I mean? I just believed in what I was doing. I just kept pushing, kept doing the right thing, having dignity, but then marketing how I wanted to market.
And I suppose you're marketing to get attention, to get eyes on the cars.
Yes, absolutely.
And do it in a little bit of do it in a little bit of a different way.
Yeah.
Like, I think Ashford Motors sounds so boring.
Yeah.
You need to call it something crazy. But now you're known as Ashford Motors, so it's hard, isn't it?
Well, the reason I called it Ashford Motors is, one, I was in Ashford. Two, I love Ashford is a strong name. It's a tree. And secondly, if I was ever to sell the business, it's not attached to me.
Oh yeah, you could call it Tits Motors and like sell it to a man.
Well, Tits and Tires could be a good one. That's going to be the name of my next calendar. And a lot of garages, you know, there was no ego in it. Will they be called the guy's name? A lot of independents, you know, Murphy, O'Donnell Car Sales, whatever. Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm not going to call it Nadia, Adan Car Sales. I'm just going to call it Ashford Motors, because now it has become its own brand. And I have had offers from other main dealers that actually wanted to buy the brand, the site, the contact list, the social media, everything. Now, I'm not, no, we have, and investors and everything, because it's this type of thing now. It's it's packageable now, you know, and it doesn't have to have anything to do with me per se. Obviously, they can hire me and I can do a few videos for them or something like that, you know. But that's kind of what I wanted for the brand. So then if something happened to me, it could live on.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
You get 10 Nadias.
Listen, you could go get another one. I need to retire. The boobs need to retire.
Oh my God.
They've slowly started retiring a bit because, you know, you can't keep doing the same thing either.
No, and people get bored.
People get bored, and I'm not about that anymore. I was like that for the first while, and that was getting the attention. Then I felt like I had to prove myself. Then I did. Then I was like, I don't need to have them out there as much, because that's not all of me.
Well, I think if anyone wants to go and buy one of the supercars or you know, those fancy cars, they'd be going to you. You've got the brand out there so well that people would know about you.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's amazing. Like people say, we are one of the most recognised dealerships in Ireland, you know, and it just goes to show the power of social media, of how if I didn't have social media, I wouldn't have been able to buy my site. I wouldn't have been able to hire the new staff I'm hiring now or have all these opportunities. And the people who laughed at us and at the beginning going, oh, you're wasting your time on TikTok, wasting your time on Instagram. Absolutely not. It's a free tool. I sell more cars on Instagram than I do on Dundee and CarZone, and I pay for them every month. I don't pay for Instagram. You know what I mean?
So you put a car up and you'll get a call.
You get a DM straight away. So how I use the two platforms. So TikTok is really for brand awareness, to go viral. We do get the odd sale off TikTok, but you wouldn't depend on it. Instagram is where the money is. Instagram's a real money maker for me, because that's where and I'm sure you know, you're so connected to your followers and community there. And so when I put up a car for sale, someone might not even be thinking about buying a car, but they see it. And then they start to fantasize, well, if I trade my car, maybe add an extra £100 a month on the finance, maybe I could get it. So you're not waiting for someone to look at it on Dundee at a specific time that they're looking for a car. It's just popping up on their feed.
And do you run ads through Instagram too?
No ads. Everything is organic. We don't. I tried ads in the beginning, and then I felt like my own videos were getting I was getting a knockback for going like my own viral videos, because they want you then to keep sponsoring. So then they don't let your videos do well. Whereas now I just let it go. Everything is organic. We don't do any sponsored ads.
Okay.
So then somebody will get on Instagram, and like I've had deposits at 11 o'clock at night. Somebody, because I'll be like, look, there's actually someone coming down tomorrow, and they'll be like, well, can I leave a deposit right now? I'm like, yeah, of course you can. So like ringing them on the phone at 11 o'clock at night, taking a deposit
in bed,
with your
mask on.
I've met customers on Christmas Day. I had a guy get on to me one time on Christmas Day to say he's so bored at home with the in-laws and he wanted to come out and look at a car. And these were the early days where I was open 7 days a week. I was open till 11 o'clock at night. On my done deal, I said open till 11 o'clock at night. I had people ringing in at 11 thinking I was having a laugh, that I wasn't. And I was like, hello, I'm here. Because I just needed to get those extra sales in the early days and and like, I never understood why garages close on a Sunday. So there's a lot of people that work 6 days a week and they only have a Sunday free. So we open on Sundays, and at the moment we open by appointment on Sundays.
So do a lot of garages close on a Sunday?
They do, most garages.
The only time I can ever go shopping is a Sunday.
Exactly. I know. I never understood it. Like, why don't you close on a Monday? There's not much going on a Monday. Well, these days it's changed. It can happen any day. So we open on a Sunday. We open 7 days a week. We meet customers after hours, and we just facilitate pretty much, because that's the way the world has gone now.
Yeah.
You have to just work the extra few hours and meet people who are working all day. Maybe they can only take a call. Business people, you're working all day. You might not only be able to talk about that car at 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. Most dealerships are closed, whereas Ashford Motors is open. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the hustle.
It's the hustle,
isn't it?
Oh yeah.
But I suspect you love that. I suspect you love that hustle, do you?
No, the bank account needs to, you just need to be, it's the cash flow side of it. I'm learning all the time about cash flow and how important it is, but especially with the cars, because you could have like 1 million, 2 million tied up in cars, and that's just tied up. But you still have bills coming in every day.
Yeah, of course.
And if a good deal comes up with a car, you want to buy it.
Yeah.
So you always have to have cash flow. And it is difficult. You could have 100 grand in the account one day. You could have very little one day. You could have 2 million in it the next day. So it's constantly just like fighting with cash flow and making sure you're operating as best as you can,
And would it make sense to allow you to be more agile and buy more cars, to have investment?
Yes and no. So we operate with the banks. So we have stocking loans. So I have my own equity in the business. We have stocking loans, and then we operate kind of 30% consignment. So what that means, that's kind of something I've really brought into the car business now. Everybody does it, but they don't really talk about it. So what it basically means is you act like an estate agent and you sell the car on behalf of someone. So A, you're not putting the money out there, so it's less risk. B, you can get the customer stronger money because you're not buying it into stock, so you can get them back a little bit better money. So it's a great way. And like, some of these cars are the prices of houses. So I don't want to spend 100 grand, 200 grand of my own cash flow or the bank's money, to be buying that in, when I can just sell it for you on your behalf. So we kind of do what estate agents do. They don't buy the houses. Whereas car dealers, we buy our cars, so it is a lot risky for us. And also you're dealing all the time with market prices. So one day you could be the cheapest on the market, and then the next day another garage could put a car up $5,000 cheaper, and all of a sudden you're too expensive. And especially with the type of cars I'm dealing, there's not many of them. You know, you could have 3 or 4 on the market. I'm one of them, another guy's one of them. All of a sudden Johnny down the road throws one up and it's $10,000 cheaper, and all of a sudden I'm $10,000 more expensive.
And would he do that deliberately? Just
they can,
and just undercut you?
They can, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And like, I try not to do that. So if I get a car and I see there's a couple of dealers, especially in my industry, we talk to each other and we'd ring each other, because I'd be like, oh, I saw you have one of those. What would you put it up for? What did you sell it for? So then I'd have an idea of what to put it up for. But some people will go out of their way to undercut you. So but look, I suppose in one way it's healthy competition.
Yeah.
You can't have a monopoly of all of us talking to each other and fixing a price as well. So yeah, but that just goes to show the risk in cars, especially the higher end cars, because yes, you need more margin, but if you lose or if an engine goes or something, then the risks are a lot bigger.
And is it a low margin business?
Yeah. No, it's a high margin.
It's a high margin business.
Yeah, it is.
In the supercars,
in the higher end stuff.
But the mediocre cars or the average one.
To be honest with you, I've always been straight from the get go. I like margin. I've always kept my margins as high as possible, and it doesn't mean that I'm making any more and less than the others. It just means that I make good deals. And the reason I do that is because I'm not a volume business. I'm not selling 100, 200 cars a month. I'm selling, well, at the moment I'm selling a lot more than I used to, but like on average we'd be selling maybe 5 to 10 cars a week. That's kind of what we're doing at the moment. Yeah, we've gone up.
Fair play.
Yeah, it's mad. It's the new site and footfall, and I've had to hire new staff now. So now there's new staff, so they need to sell cars, because, you know, we need to be able to pay for them and make sure that there's longevity there for them. And it's just the growth period. But for a long time, it was just myself, and I contracted out my valeter, my mechanic. Then I hired Owen, then I hired Maciek, then I hired Eddie. Eddie's a retired farmer. He's 64. And, you know, he bought 3 cars off me, but he just kept hanging around the place and fixing
like
things.
A bad smell.
So I was like, here, do you want a job? So we gave him a job. And now we've Charlie the dog as well. He works for us as well. So we're just like misfits, like, honest to God. But yeah, no, it is. It's higher margin in the premium stuff, because yes, if something goes wrong with them as well, they're more expensive. Like an engine could be 10 grand, 20 grand. Even the wheels are more expensive. And also it's cash flow. So these cars can sit on your forecourt for 6 months. So if you don't have a high margin in it, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in 6 months, the market could change, the price could come down. And then also you're taking trade-ins on these cars. So you need the margin to be able to take a trade-in to then get a little bit of money back to keep the business operating. But then you have another car sitting on the forecourt for another 6 months. And so
Jeez, that'd be stress now with that stuff.
It's all stress. But then again, that's why you're making a lot of money, because it's stress and it's risk, and high risk equals more money.
Yeah.
If it's low risk, we'd all be doing it. We'd all be making the same amount. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of depends. And that's why I've opened up the second garage, because that's going to be for the more affordable cars that are probably moving a lot more smoother, and there will be probably less margin, but at least that's cash flow in the background. So if I do have a couple of quiet weeks with the high end stuff, then that's supporting that. And also we've so many young followers that get on to me, Nadia, I'm looking for a car. My daughter wants to buy a car off you. My son wants to buy a car off you. And I'm like, oh shit, I've nothing here for you. Now I can say, go down to Ashford Approved. We have little golf there.
What you call it?
Ashford Approved, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's cute, isn't it?
Yeah, that is deadly. But do people turn up to your garage now, and are they disappointed if you're not there?
Yeah. I get Maciek, my PA rings me and he's like, there's someone here to see you. And I'm like, oh. Now I am there most days, but and there is a bit of a balance there that I love talking to people and having the crack. And people sometimes just come up and take a picture of me and leave. Or they'll come up and take a picture of Charlie, the dog, and leave. I had a customer there.
Or take a picture of you in the car.
And the dog.
Yeah, and the dog.
And the dog. I'm like the 2 dogs in Aris and Uchtron. They come in, pet my head and leave, you know. But I don't mind, because I've done the graft, and I still graft. But like, I did the meeting people at 9 o'clock at night and running around the rain, getting feckin' pissed on. And, you know, I did all that for years. And that's why I have staff now, so they can do all the running around and I can be there to grow the business. Because if I'm doing all of this, I can't do this, and I can't scale, and I can't get funding or do the marketing or do all the nice bits. You know what it's like. You're literally in the same boat yourself, aren't you? Yeah.
And then with the scaling, so obviously you've got Ashford Approved, and would scaling to you look like going to the UK with this?
Yeah, I'd love an Ashford Kent. Absolutely, I'd love, and there is an Ashford in the UK. I've looked into that already. Yeah, who knows? I've been offered to do a dealership in North Dublin, so I had somebody get in contact with me that's in the motor trade, and they wanted to invest and open up an Ashford in North Dublin. So who knows? Maybe after approved, maybe we go to Dublin. But then also, do you get it? Let it get out of control then, and then you're not really in
you can
control.
move too quickly as well.
Too quickly, and I've been very good at being very slow all the way up to now. You know, from the early days, I was petrified to take on a staff member because I was like, will I be able to pay for their wage?
But you say you've moved slow, right? But if you just started this just before COVID, it means you're quite similar to me. So what? You're 4 or 5, 6 years then?
6 years this year, yeah. And then, but previous to that, I was doing a bit at the house.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like building it up a little.
The hustle.
The hustle, yeah.
The hustle from the house.
The hustle from the house.
Have you ever worried about your own safety?
Yeah.
Like, particularly the early days? Because, like, especially going on test drives maybe with people.
Yeah, absolutely. I did have a weird, like, incidents once. I met someone, they wanted to meet me up in City West car park to meet the car because they couldn't come out to Wicklow. So in the early days, I was desperate for money. It was all about survival. It was all about cash flow coming in. I didn't think if the business would survive. So I was just selling and trying to just make money to survive. So I, you know, me being mean, I was like, yeah, I'll go meet you in City West. So I travelled all the way from Wicklow with the car. I remember, I think it was a 2012 CLS Mercedes. It was a nice car. So your man was in the car park and he jumped into the car and he drove around to the back of like an industrial estate. And he was kind of like, and I was like, right, are you done now? And he's kind of driving off. And then he started like veering towards the mountains, you know, the back, like the Dublin mountains. Yeah. I was like, oh, Larry Murphy, here we go. Oh. And I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. And at the time I was still practicing. I haven't practiced in years because of my hip. I had a hip replacement and all that. But back then I was like well into the jiu-jitsu. So I kept dropping hints to him in the car. I was like, you know, I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And he was like, I kept
talk dirty to me, talk even more.
I was like, yeah, I won this competition, that competition. I'm really good at choking you out. I was like, don't start on me. But then he started going up the mountain and I was here texting my friend being like, I'm going here, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, look, you can turn back now. It's all good. Now, to be fair, in the end, he just turned back around, came back. But it was so weird. It was so eerie. I was like, oh God, that could have gone so wrong. Like I could have just been taken and God knows what could have happened. So that was weird. There has been a few weird incidents and thank God nothing's happened. And I think most people are quite decent. And I was always kind of clever where I met people. I met them at car parks, at Circle K. It was bright. We were under security cameras and those were just the deals I did. And then when I was in the yard, like I was in an industrial estate, there was always businesses around. And if I just always would try look at my risks and just try mitigate them as best I can. But yeah, it was a bit dodgy now, I'm not going to lie, yeah.
And have you ever had any issues with security, not just your own security, but the security of the yard even? Because, like, do you ever get people trying to even just damage cars? Or
luckily enough, no. We had some graffiti happen once where they put some racial slurs across my garage about me. That was the worst of it I ever got. Yeah, really? Yeah, they did. Yeah. They said the N-word, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, it was awful. Yeah, it was. But sure, look, it is what it is. You're not going to please everyone. So that was the worst of it. No, thankfully never had any damage. And I think I always just thought, look, if I do, that's what I have my insurance for. It is what it is. In my new showroom, the equipment, we phone link kitted the whole thing out. We have AI cameras, we have bollards, we have electric gates, we have live security, sensors, lights.
It's so expensive to get that in.
It is, but sure, it's important. Yeah, it is. And like, I don't know, is it a case of, I think because we're so on social media, I just think people would be petrified because they'd be plastered all over social media if they came anywhere near us.
And you have no problem biting back, sure you
I don't. I'm sorry, just to cut across you. I don't know, did you ever see my video about the Cork swindler? He tried to swindle 200 grand worth of cars off me and I put them all over social media.
Tell the story, go on.
Anyway, long story short, he got on, he was who he said he was. I FaceTimed him. This was during COVID. We were actually selling cars without people viewing the cars. It was normal during COVID because people couldn't leave, they couldn't travel, so they kind of got used to doing virtual viewings like they were doing for houses and stuff like that. So I was doing a virtual viewing with this guy and he was showing me his face and he was who he was on Facebook. Everything was checking out. And in the end, he's like, yeah, I'll take that car to the tune of of about 160 grand, the 2 cars. And I was going, yes, oh God, it's going to pay for a lot this week. Like really, when you get a deal done like that, you're checking your account every day. Like you want to see the money hit. Like it's an awful feeling. Like you are looking, So he's like, yeah, I'll send you the money tomorrow. So he sent fake transfers and he's like, right, I want the cars like dropped off or delivered to my house by Friday. And I was like, the money hasn't hit yet. And then I didn't want to piss him off because it could happen that the money just hasn't hit yet. And I didn't want to, push him away as a customer. So that dragged on for about a week. In the end, anyway, it transpired that he went to another garage and robbed a car and went driving off. Anyway, he got arrested and all that. But that was probably the closest thing I ever had to, someone doing that. But then we put it up on social media as well, so then the other garages could keep an eye out. And
don't fucking mess with Nadia. No, tell you, don't be coming.
Thank God for TikTok.
This woman is not one to mess with. That's got so she plaster his face up.
Yeah, Cork swindler. Yeah, he's from Cork. Remember the Tinder swindler? Yeah, it was the Cork swindler.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
I think for the most part you get a lot of love. For what you do, and the comments are really positive and laughy, jokey, and people are having fun in the comments with you. And in fairness to you as well, you write back to people like you're cool. Yeah, you spend the time doing that. Yeah, I need to do that more.
I write back to everyone. It's crazy. Yeah, I really do. As much as I can now. Yeah, but I'll actually spend time in the evenings going back, even all my messages, everything, because I just think like people make such an effort to message you and to say something. It's nice if they get a little message back, and then it'll bring them back to the post, and then it kind of pushes the algorithm again. So
God, I need to do
but that. Your confessions are amazing. I will listen to watch your confessions every weekend. Like it's my little guilty pleasure on a Sunday.
Everyone says that to me.
Going.
I missed 1 week in like the last 4 years there when I was in and I got messages going, sorry, where the fuck? Excuse me?
Are they over?
Yeah, like what? So
this is better than Emmerdale. Don't do this to us, Laura.
No. So I do that, but I actually have to get better at really just responding to people because
it's hard.
Do you respond to every DM then as well, or
like 99%. Yeah, okay. I get because most of them could be about cars. Of course, we are very good. Myself and the team, like we have Matty looks after the social media as well. So if I don't pick it up, he will. And then obviously you have all the other stuff. And then I do get a few little messages from some guys that are like, send me your knickers, send me your socks. Can I be your pay pig?
You could set up a whole new business.
Oh, literally OnlyFans. I was approached by an OnlyFans agent last year, I think it was, and they said I could make 200 grand a month. Yeah, with my following, and they do these projections, and they said,
and what would you have to do for that?
They said I could even start off not even doing anything, and more so just like a bit of lingerie or something. Sure, I did my calendar for God's sake the last 2 years in a row.
I know,
but you know what? It's just not me, and I did my calendar because I'd want to do for charity, and I wanted to do something amazing and promote the business, and no one could really give out because it was for charity. Do you know what I mean?
I know. And how much did you make for the charity?
So I made 25 grand for Men's Aid. Yeah, it was amazing. So
Men's Aid,
that was my charity. Yeah. And the reason I went for them, believe it or not, I actually went initially, and maybe it was supposed to be like this in the end, but initially I went to a female charity. I won't say who it was, but they said they didn't want me because I was be too booby and it'd be too upsetting to the charity holders. So I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. You're saying no to money. If I was a charity, I'd be going, yes, give me all the. So then in the end, I really sat down and thought about it. And at the time, my followers were 90% male. I love to say that now. They're like 70% male, 30% women.
Are they great?
And my female following is seriously growing, and I love that. And I think that needs to take them a little bit of time to get to know me. At the beginning, they're probably like, what's she at? Whereas now they've looked past that. And women, I find, they're silent judges. Obviously the men are the one that if they don't like you, they'll be very nasty, but the women will never be nasty. They'll just judge you from behind the screens, but then they might like you after a while, after 6 months or something. They'll be your biggest supporter then, or they'll be like, don't tell her she can't keep her boobs out. They hate a man telling you what to do. Do you know what I mean?
It's okay for me to judge her, right? But don't you?
But don't you dare tell her she can't do what she wants to do, right? So then I went back to the drawing board and went, God, they don't want me. God, geez, I can't even do my calendar. Like, what's going on? So then I went, hang on a second, men, that's kind of who follow me at the moment. let's give Men's Aid a call. So I rang the CEO of Men's Aid at the time, Katrina Bentley, amazing woman. And I said, hi, it's just Nadia from Ashford Motors. Look, I'm doing a calendar. Look, it's a little bit saucy. Is there any chance that we can use you guys as a charity for it? We'd love men's mental health, because obviously we cars and men following. And she was like, yes, but just don't ask us for anything, because we're so underfunded. We have no time. We can't, because that's how bad Men's Aid is. There's 4 people manning the phones in Men's Aid, and there was 10,000 calls. I remember the year I did it, 21 or 22. That year they took 10,000 calls, and there's 4 people manning the phones.
And is Men's Aid for men that are just struggling with their mental health, men that are in maybe abusive relationships, just all
of the above, even men on men relationships. So there's a lot of like FPT, like
what's that stand
for?
It's
forced penetration. So like gay men, abusive relationships. One could be keeping someone's passport, like a younger man. Loads of different, and I learned all about it, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't even realise all of this. There's a girl there telling me that their oldest victim was 90 and their youngest victim was 18, and that they have men ringing in that may be been abused by their sister for years or their wife for years, and they've just stayed. They can't, the kids are using the kids against them. The men that are ringing that are literally about to jump off a cliff, and then they bring them off. And it's not really something and it's normal men, it's firefighters, it's the rugby guy, it's just totally normal men, and they don't talk about it. And obviously it's hard then to get the funding. And obviously the Women's Aid and all that, they need it, of course they do, but the men need a lot.
Listen, everyone needs it, and it's hard.
Everyone needs it.
Like, wouldn't you love to have enough money to give to every charity that's in need? So you chose that charity, and the calendar went mental.
The second year went really mental. The first year it went mental, and it was like even daughters buying it for their granddads, for their dads, for their brothers, loads of women ordering it for the husbands, and the calendar was amazing. So it was obviously tasteful. It wasn't fully nude or anything like that. It was just lingerie, but it was very tastefully done. And the thing was, it was real cars. So we did 12 different shoots, 12 different cars. The second year was Nadia at the movies, so they're all movie cars. So we had Kit from Knight Rider. You probably remember that, General Lee. I was Dukes of Hazzard.
How did you get them all in?
So there's these movie car clubs in Ireland, and I just contacted all these different people. I had one guy that had Eleanor up north, from Gone in 60 Seconds. Yeah. So went up north, did the dreads like Angelina Jolie. Like it was 12 shoots. Like it took months and months and months. And then sourcing the cars, cleaning the cars.
It must have cost a fortune to do it.
Yeah, it did. And like, so I covered myself. Yeah. And I made a few quid, and I made money for charity. Okay. And I said, listen, I worked my ass off for 3 months on that calendar. I deserve to make a few quid on it. Do you know what I mean? So it was a win-win. In the second calendar, we sold over 1,000 copies, and we sold all around the world. We sold to islands I didn't even know existed. We sold to all over Europe. We sold to a platoon of Ukrainian soldiers as well. So it was great. So everyone's mad for me to do another calendar this year.
And I
absolutely. Now I have a new hip. Yeah. I couldn't do one last year.
You didn't do one last year, yeah.
My hip, I was recovering for a few months.
Why do you have a hip issue?
So they think I just had it as a child.
Just 30.
Yeah, 35. Yeah. So it only became an issue a couple of years ago when I was in the gym, because I used to be, really like yourself, like love working out, love going to the gym, had a PT, and I did a movement where I did a donkey kick and my leg just didn't come back down. It just went, and I was like, oh shit, that doesn't sound good. And then it just got gradually worse. I got osteoarthritis in the hip, and then eventually it was literally bone on bone. So like last year I did a charity run called the Bear Run for Children Ambulance. It's amazing, amazing charity. And I was literally like limping the whole weekend and jumping in and out of sports cars, and on the Tuesday I got rolled in to get a new hip. That's how I was doing so much to then thrown in to get a new hip. And at one stage last year I was looking at my videos and I was fully limping in my video. I was like, no, this ain't.
You fall on ice in your videos as well.
I was like, this ain't hot. This is not happening.
I'm not going to sell any cars.
I'm not going to continue
around. It doesn't matter how big the boobs are.
Exactly. This business is going to go. And even Maciek will tell you, when we was doing my calendar last year, he was throwing me up on the bonnet, lifting one leg up, lifting the... He was like, we can't do this again, because I'd be literally like this. Okay, quick, get the shot, get the shot. Oh, so sore. So yeah, I'm a new woman this year. I feel like, I really do feel like a new woman.
And you feel the difference, do you?
Oh, huge. My pain is gone. Now, obviously I have recovery pain. Yeah. They say it'll take, I'm only about 8 months post stop. And I had a bad 2 months because I did too much at the beginning. I was straight back into work a week after the hip replacement with my crutches back in because I didn't have a choice. I got the hip done in May.
You're doing, sorry, for anyone that isn't watching, Nadia's doing this like crutching motion.
Yeah.
To see her like.
That video when I'm walking up looking, actually it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
And my physio rings me the next day. She goes, what the feck are you doing?
Yeah.
You're not even walking with those crutches right. And I was like, I don't know. But I didn't have a choice because I did the hip in May and I opened in June, and I'd invested so much money in the showroom, and I had to open up and I had to be there, and I couldn't. I was so broke. Like I really, really was. I was giving the builder 20 grand a week to build a showroom. And I was like, I have to get this place open and making money because we're here now. We've spent the money. So, I just didn't have it. But now, look, I'm kind of taking a bit more time off now.
But they said it was an issue with you when you were a kid. It was just the one hip. Okay.
Just the one. Yeah, they think it was possibly dysplasia. And because, like, Mom didn't know anything about that back then. She was like, I didn't know what the hell. Like, I wouldn't have known what that was. It probably would have been an easy fix with the nappies. You probably know all about that, the nappies. And, having 3, whatever. And so anyway, they just thought that. And then obviously that thing didn't help with the donkey kick, and then it got worse, and then I had osteoarthritis. But they say the other hip is fine. And actually I can do more with this hip now than I could ever do. So it's brilliant.
Do you want to tell us what you can do?
I can do flips. I can go on my back. I can do loads of things.
But you're over-promising now. This
I know.
Better be brilliant.
Oh, stop. This new calendar with the new hip.
Yeah.
We should call it like, I don't know, hips and tits or something, or iron fists. I don't know.
I love it. What did your mum think of the calendar? Because I know that your mum is Muslim, isn't she?
She is. Yeah, she wouldn't be a strict Muslim.
Okay.
Like I call her a la carte Muslim. She picks and chooses what she likes off the menu. She'll kill me if she hears me saying that to her. The first year she was like, no. Because initially the videos, she was going mad about the videos.
Was she?
Oh, if your uncle or sees this, like, this is crazy.
Over in Somalia.
And I was like, it's okay, Mom, I promise you it'll all work out. And so, initially she was like, I don't like this. You're making the family look bad. You're doing this, you're doing that. So she's very, very disappointed in me. But I just kept doing it. And then the calendar again, she was like, and then after a while, she's like, I'll buy 10. So she bought 10 of my calendars to support me, and she has them, and she was giving them out and stuff like that. So she loves it now. Like she gets it now, I think. Do you know what I mean? She's proud of me now, and she sees where it's all going. And even when she came out to the show, I was at the RDS last weekend headlining the European Motor Show with Christian Horner, who's huge. He was the F1 dealer for Red Bull, and they had a guy from Top Gear there. It was a really, really big show. She was there. She was my supporting fan, and she was like, God, I get it now. I get why you did everything. Because she used to go, well, why are you doing a video, or why are you meeting someone at this, or why are you doing that promotion? What are you going to get out of that? And I'm like, I'm telling you, it's all part of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You just can't see the bigger picture. Doesn't mean it's not building to something.
And did you always have in your head where you wanted to be, or have things just happened by coincidence as well in some ways? Yeah, I really believe in manifestation, because even in the early days I used to manifest like, oh no, I'm a supercar dealer, and I wouldn't have supercars, and I just act like it. And I just projected that. I would just say, yes, I can get you a Lamborghini. I'm like, I don't know if I can get this person a Lamborghini. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to sell a Lamborghini without having a brand or a family behind me or a reputation behind me. I just used to just take on the challenge and just hopefully do it and work hard and keep my word. I always found keeping your word was the best. Even if I lost money in the deal in the end, if I told somebody I'm going to get you this back on the car, and I just got it for them, even if I lost money, but I kept my word, then they would tell 5 good people. And however viral I went, word of mouth was so much better.
Oh yeah.
Huge.
You cannot pay for that marketing.
Pay for that marketing. And I say that to this day, it doesn't matter how viral I am. If I'm not running a good business, I'd be torn to threads by now. Do you know what I mean? So that's really, really important. Our Google reviews are really good. We've nearly 5-star Google reviews, which is great. And the only 2 bloody bad ones, they're fake. If you look at them, they are fake, and I can't get them down. But sure, look, it takes a bit of pressure off me now having 4.9 rather than 5, because I was obsessed at keeping it at 5.
Yeah, sometimes, and the bigger you get, you're always going to get people that just want to tear you down as well.
Absolutely.
And where did you get your cars from? Like, how did you go about doing it?
Yeah, so a couple of different ways we get our stock. So one is through the trade, so through other main dealers. So you'd have your network of main dealers that would ring you, that would say, oh, we've someone who's after ordering a brand new range Range Rover and they have a 24 Range Rover to trade in. Do you want to buy it? So we have that. Social media has been huge for us getting stock. So every now and again I'll put up a post going looking for stock, and this is my criteria: fresh cars, plus 2020, blah blah blah. And then the floods of messages come in. Now you have to really go through them because half of them will be not fitting the criteria, but then you might get one or two deals out of that. So privately, a lot of people don't get the deals they want when they go to main dealers sometimes, because it might not be the brand that they sell, so they'll really undercut them with price. So then they get onto the likes of us and we can give them a little bit better. So that's how we get our stock. Yeah, so through the trade, through social media, privately, or then trade-ins that come. If they're fit for purpose, then we'll resell them.
And would you deliberately import some too? Or
yeah, if specifically, like we get so much stock in Ireland, we don't have to go to the UK because we get so much here. But if a customer got on to me like, Nadia, I'm looking for this, a Lamborghini or Porsche or BMW, whatever it was, and there was none in Ireland, then we would look further afield. We would look up north, or we would look to the UK and we'd bring them in and we'd VRT them. So we have done that as well, yeah.
And do the Irish people love nice cars?
Yeah.
They do.
Oh, they do. Yeah, absolutely. Like, what I've been seeing in the last few years, unfortunately, it's very sad to say, is a gap in the market. And what I mean by that is the rich are getting richer, and unfortunately, the middle class is disappearing. That's what I've been seeing. Okay. So a car that you have up for maybe 20 grand, 30 grand, a lot of people want that car. They can't afford it. And whereas anything over a certain amount, people are just coming in and tapping their Revolut for it. Like I had a guy come in and he bought a €126,000 Range Rover Vogue, and he just bought it on his Revolut. He had the money in his Revolut and just bought it. I was like, hold on.
Check in your bank account.
What? This is great. Why do the banks hold my money for 5 days when like Revolut is so instant?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely people love nice cars in Ireland. They hate getting so taxed for it though. They really do, because we're the motorists, we're like low hanging fruits, you know, for the Greens, the government, everything. It's like, oh, what can we do? Let's just put another tax to the motorists. A lot of people like Mary and Joe down the road, they'll absorb that cost, even though they can't. The cost of living is already so high, and if petrol diesel goes up, they still have to drive to work, they still have to bring the kids to school. So it is tough, and that's why I'm always so vocal about VRT, about this, about that, because we're just getting hit all the time, and it's taken the love away for cars. People love cars, kids love cars, granddad love cars, men love cars, women love cars, but it's kind of, we're getting to a point now where they're really trying to make us all the same, make us all drive EVs and be, whereas people want flavour, they want something different, they want sports cars, maybe they even want older classic cars as well. So yeah, look, hopefully we're seeing a lot of the world kind of turn back against the EV demand and stuff like that.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that actually. So, because I know that you and I had a bit of a discussion at the Image Awards about your thoughts on the EVs, because I thought EVs were the future. And then you told me otherwise, Nadia.
Yes. I did, yeah.
So what is the story with the EVs?
Yeah, so look, initially when the EVs came in, they were priced very expensive and the infrastructure wasn't there. And they kind of just put it down everybody's throat. We all need to go EV by 2035 without actually implementing the things that needed to be done for this to work.
The fucking charging station.
Jesus. Where are they? They're not down Cork. They're not down. You might have a few around here in Sandyford. So for example, and I always use this example of Norway because we have a very similar population to Norway. They have over 20,000 charging points. We only have about 2,000 in the whole of Ireland.
That's crazy.
So first of all, they were very expensive when they came out. Then they started dropping their value like mad. And I started seeing it. So through my kind of analyst days, I was looking at the UK. Anything that happens in the UK regarding cars always happens in Ireland. And we started to see the values of secondhand EVs drop by 30, 40, 50, 60%. Okay. Then I was like, this is going to start happening in Ireland. And it did. And then I was like, I can't sell this because I don't have a backer. I don't have a big name behind, like, you know, big main dealer name that can absorb the cost, or all I have is my own cash flow that I'm working with. So I took the stance from a second-hand car dealer dealing in them second-hand, that there was no predictability in what they were going to be worth. I could take one in as a trade-in for 20 grand and then it'd be worth 10 grand in a month's time. That's literally how quick it was. And all the dealers at the time were talking behind the scenes saying that they were shite and that they didn't want to sell them. They were selling them, but then they wouldn't take them back. And I was going, well, I'm just not going to sell them. So I did a TikTok video and it went completely viral. It went to the UK, got the news, it got news talk. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I didn't realise that it would get that much, momentum. And then people were blaming me for bringing the whole EV market down last year when sales plummeted. And I was like, oh yeah, a girl in Wicklow brought the whole EV market down.
It's your fault.
It was happening worldwide anyway.
Yeah.
So then that happened, and I still don't sell them because I still don't think that they've dropped enough for me to be able to sell them secondhand, because there's so many issues with skilled labour, mechanics. There's not enough mechanics. Infrastructure isn't there. Even to get parts is so hard. So I just said, no, I'm going to stick to my petrols and diesels. Hybrids are fine because they're like a little bridge, a little gap, they bridge the gap. But we're just not there yet in my eyes. And when we do get there, I'll be delighted to sell them. I think there is a place for EVs. I don't think they're the end and be all for everyone. I think they need to be there as a choice, and they need to be priced accordingly of what they are, which is a 5-year good. They're a little bit of like, they're, I suppose, a victim of their own success, right? Because technology changes so much every year. By the time they're 5 years old, nobody wants, it's like an iPhone. You go and sell this in about 3 years' time, it's worth nothing because no one wants an iPhone 13 anymore. They want the iPhone 17. So people will just go buy a new one. They won't buy a 13 one, and they won't be parts produced for that 13 one because there's no value in it anymore, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
So these were all the issues.
You know an awful lot about cars. I'm learning.
Well,
it's literally like a school lesson.
Yeah, absolutely. But I had to kind of look at it and go, this is just nuts what we're being told.
Yeah.
And then what we're starting to see now is the EU and all the car manufacturers, in Italy and Germany, have gone to the EU and they said they want to scrap the ban on petrols and diesels for 2025. So the way we have this agenda that's going to make us all EVs by 2035. They want to scrap that. So that's what's happening at the moment. They want to say we've lost jobs, it's too much, EV sales haven't picked up, and it's too much pressure for us. So that's what's happening at the moment worldwide and even Donald Trump now has gone, petrol's going down, I love my guzzlers, we're all going to be driving petrol. So you've Trump saying, we're all going to be driving petrols and he loves petrols. You've EU saying we want to ban it, and then you've China producing really cheap EVs because cost of labour over there, we can't compete with that. Cost of parts, they basically replicating all the European brands, all the American brands, and making them so cheap. So then you've that coming in as well. There's so many issues. Yeah, there really is. You wish you didn't ask me now.
No. It's like it's a world that I don't know or understand. But
I'm only learning as well.
Yeah. But in China, you just mentioned it there. They do some cracking cars.
Oh yeah,
don't they?
They do. Yeah, and for fraction of
the price.
Yeah,
and they're beautiful. And really state of the art, but I suppose we can't be importing them. It's just even the tax is so high on them.
The taxes are high, yeah. And the thing is, people love tech, and look, there's a place for tech and there's a place for all that. And don't get me wrong, there's probably a place for EVs if they are sold as what they are, packaged as what they are. Maybe they're great for taxis. There's huge grants for them. The government didn't do a whole lot in terms of incentivize everybody to go EVs. They did really feck all. I think at the beginning they gave you a free charger and then they stopped that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it does work in those ways, but I think there needs to be alternatives like hybrids, different fuels. Maybe one person has an EV in a house, the other person has a full diesel or full petrol, and they work it like that. Then the other thing is charging. You can't charge up in apartments. So what happens then? You can only have it at houses, and you only get the benefit of an EV if you can night charge at your home. If you charge a public charger, it's more expensive than petrol and diesel. So all of this has to be worked out. Also trucks. What do trucks do? They have to go EV. They can't go EV. Yeah. So there's just so much that wasn't thought out. We were just told, by 10 years' time, we're all going EV. But what does this actually mean for people who are heavily financed on an EV and go and trade it in 3 years later and they're losing 60%? And they're still paying finance on it. Yeah. And that's why I didn't do it, because I wasn't going to face them and tell them, sorry, you've lost 60% in a year and a half. Oh, sure, I sold you this year and a half ago, because it's my face that they're going to have to look at. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So those were all the reasons. But sure, look, we'll see how it goes anyway.
Yeah. And do you you mentioned financing there. Do you do financing options?
Yes, we do. So we're credit intermediaries, which basically means we have really good access to the lenders and good rates and that. So yeah, we have finance available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, you're some woman.
Come into me now for a car tomorrow. I'll buy your Volvo book if you buy a Volvo off me.
Look, there's a bit of a difference in the margin there now, I tell you.
Oh, will you stop? You sell enough books now. Come on.
Oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought there. I wanted to ask you something. What was it? Oh, I've totally
I
lost
think you're amazing anyway. Just want to say I love your videos and everything you've done. I just think you're absolutely amazing. You're a real woman's woman.
Oh, you don't have to be. And we can all help each other out. I think I was actually at a little gathering today for the Shona Project, which is a lady, Tammy Darcy, and I
saw that.
Do you see that?
I saw that,
it's
yeah.
for teenage girls, and it's really to try and make teenage girls love themselves and love each other and be kind. It's just a wonderful project to see, and it's a charity, but to see women trying to bring other women on. And the thing about it is, I think that there's room for everyone at the table, and everyone can help each other out, and we just need to cheerlead each other on, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. And for me, what really pushed me on in business was collaboration. So very early on, I always looked to collaborate. If there was a deal to be done with another dealer, I'd be ringing them going, can we get a deal done on this? Can we do this? Can we do that? Instead of shutting everyone out.
Yeah.
There's a real no, it's my customer, it's my deal in the motor trade. And I did come up against a few big names in the motor trade that tried to take deals away from me, that told people not to buy cars off me, that literally I was dying to get this car sold and a deal done. I'd ring the customer and threaten them not to buy the car off me. That all happened to me in the early days until I actually went and faced them. I used to go into them and go, can you stop? You know what I mean? Or I would do a video or something because I felt like I had to protect myself from this happening. Now, it doesn't happen really anymore because firstly, when you talk bad about another dealer, it makes you look bad. You don't need to talk bad about something else. So there was a lot of behind the scenes that people didn't see that was happening to me. Even if certain finance companies said they wouldn't deal with me after my stance on EVs. So I got punished a lot behind the scenes for being who I was and having my say. But I always felt like I'd always try and, as you said, cheerlead or collaborate. Then I started doing the TikToks that went Nadia meets. So, I went and met Garen, went and met Sammy, loads of TikTokers, and I did those videos. And I always found the more you collaborated, the more you did well.
Yeah,
rather than going, no, it's my deal and I don't want you to buy off her and have that kind of mentality,
No, definitely collaboration works in every sense, and in every walk of life as well. Nadia, you definitely don't have the face for radio. You have the face for television and the body as well. Would you consider doing any kind of a TV program or what about what's that program over in the UK?
Top Gear.
Yeah, would you do that?
Yeah,
in Ireland?
You know what? A lot of people have said that to me, and also being a female doing it, we don't have many females doing that type of video. Listen, I don't know what's to come down the road. All I'd say is, keep an eye out on us, and we'll see what comes down the road.
I'm so excited for you. I'll help you with your pitch.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, you're a pro now after doing the entrepreneurs, aren't you? Was it the entrepreneur
of the year?
Yes, amazing.
I want to nominate you. Yeah. You'd be brilliant.
Yeah, thank you. I'd love the opportunity if it came. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you'd be brilliant. Yeah. And you're such a businesswoman, and I think that
I'm a learned businesswoman. I wouldn't be polished or anything like that.
But
you know what I mean?
But sure, that's what any entrepreneur is, and. It's so interesting because, like what you say, you'd look at your videos, or some people might think, "Oh, look what she does."
She's a bimbo,
but actually, boobs behind the scenes, you are razor sharp, doing it all right.
And the thing is, and do you know what? In a way, and I remember Dolly Parton said it so well. She was like, people underestimated me, but then I'd have the deal and I'd be gone, and that's kind of how I look back and go, actually, that was me. I'd let them think I was a bimbo. I'd let them think I'd nothing in the head, but then I'd be making a load of money on the side, or I'd be getting a deal and I'd be gone, and they'd be wondering, well, how did she open up a showroom? Do you know what I mean? So I think there's something there to use that, and that's any female that's doing a business that feels like they're being looked down upon by men or women or whatever, use that to your advantage. Let them think you've nothing going on, and then but just keep doing what you're doing, and eventually they'll be bewildered, like, how did you do it? With
a lovely smile on your face as well, isn't that right? It's the best way to do it, huh?
Absolutely.
I ask my guests 2 questions at the end of every podcast.
Okay.
So, what advice would you give young people today?
Don't take too much to heart on social media. So the reason why I do a lot of my call outs, which they go viral as well, was because I've thick skin, so I'm well used to getting abused and slagged and all of that. But the young people these days, they don't put the phones away. They live in the phones. They take all that home with them, and the bullying and stuff like that. So I just think it's so hard for them now than when we grew up, and we can differentiate between going on TikTok and then putting the phone away at night. We don't carry that home with us. So that's why I do my call outs, because I like to show kids, you know what, there's real people out there as well. We're real people behind the screens, and don't take it, you know. So definitely that. And then the other thing I'd say is, look, definitely believe in yourself. I know it's so cliche and I know everybody says that, but like, do believe in yourself and do believe in your ability, and don't let colour your skin, being a female in a male's world, a disability, anything like that keep you, because you can do it. You know what I mean? If you put the graft into it and you try and think outside the box, you know, you don't do like everybody else is doing, but try and think outside the box, you can really do it, you know?
Do you know what I heard? A guy, Rory Sutherland, I think he's a marketeer over in the UK, and I was actually attended a talk by him just a couple of weeks ago, and he said, look at what the competition are doing badly and just begin to do it well. Instead of trying to compete with what they're doing well and try and be them, just look and see what they're doing badly and just do it a bit differently.
Yeah. You're right.
So it's really interesting, isn't it?
That's really interesting. And now when I think back, I'm like, we looked at all the things, like open up really late and get back to people straight away on Instagram. And no, you're right.
So it's
a great
interesting,
one.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So what is the meaning of life for you?
I don't know. Good question. I haven't had a holiday in like a year and a half. I need to go on a holiday. I think the meaning of life, I think because I started out with my mum having very little, I think I just want to be, even though I'm very comfortable financially and all that, I still always feel broke. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I still always feel like oh my God, like I need to make sure I'm okay. Like I don't feel comfortable yet. It's that hunger. And I think that if you lose that hunger, then you get lazy. Then like if I don't operate with a little bit of pressure in the business, so I always make us do something mental, like buy a big car that we don't know if we're going to sell. So everybody in the office is under pressure. If we don't operate like that, then we all become really complacent and lazy, and you don't strive for it. So I think for me, the meaning of life is just do really well as the business, grow the business, do all my charities, bring kids in. I love bringing all the kids into the garage and looking at the cars. I want to give back to Ireland what it gave back to me. Genuinely, I do. And I know there's a lot going on with immigration at the moment, but Ireland, I'm proud to say, welcomed me, gave me an education, gave me a safe haven, gave me my mum a home. And I get emotional because they really did. And Irish people are so friendly. Like, they're so welcoming because they know what it feels like to be an immigrant. You know, you remember in England, no Irish, no blacks, no dogs. They know exactly how it feels. They're not racist. They really aren't. You know, fair enough, they just don't want things put down their throat. They want to be met halfway. And I was always like that. My mum was always, we came here, we met people halfway and we integrated, we pay taxes, and we want to make Ireland as amazing. We want to give back and make Ireland as amazing as it can, you know. So I suppose that's just what I want to do. I'll always want to repay Ireland for that. Another thing I want to do as well, we have a bit of land in Africa. Well, my mum does. It was inherited to her. It's a couple of 100 acres, and I'd love to open up a safari lodge. That's my dream, like down the line.
Yeah.
So I want to do like an eco lodge and do like self-sustainable like food, because I find really peace when I do go back and travel. Like, we have family in Kenya and stuff like that. They would have moved over there. So when we go and visit them, I just find it so tranquil over there with the animals, and because it takes me away from my mental life here.
Yeah.
So I'd love to have some sort of a safari lodge, and then like kind of advertise that through Ashford Motors, because obviously people who love cars love going on safaris as well.
Of course. And have you ever been back to Somalia?
No, it's now there. It is peaceful now, but there's just, we have no one there. There's just no family. If I went there in the morning, I wouldn't know where to go. I wouldn't know who to call. So when people say go back to where you came from, like, I wouldn't know where to go. I'm from Firhouse. Do you know what I mean?
And what a way to end the pod. Nadia, it's been gorgeous talking to you. You're an amazing lady, and it's just the very best luck with everything. Honestly, you're so cool to talk
and you're
to.
amazing as
This
well.
podcast episode is brought to you by the Brillo Cleaning Collection. I've recently brought the air fryer back into full rotation in our house. And when I say full rotation, I mean every single day, every single meal. The boys are absolutely obsessed. So the rule in our house is simple. If you use it, you clean it. And that's where the Brillo air fryer cleaner comes in. It makes the job genuinely easy. You simply spray it on, leave it for 30 seconds, wipe and rinse. And you're done. No endless scrubbing, no trays soaking in the sink. It's Good Housekeeping approved, meaning it's been rigorously tested by consumers and expert panels. And Brillo has 6 products in their new cleaning collection. all designed for the toughest household tasks. From unblocking the drain to getting your oven clean in minutes, not hours. So, if you're dealing with mould, limescale, or any of those stubborn jobs around the house, there's a Brillo product for it. Always follow preparation and usage instructions. Available nationwide.